We are back after a short break with Mufti Jakura. Mufti Jakura, we have spoken at length about few things about Islamic finance and muamalat. Okay, let's come to the point here now. What is the fundamental, let's say, difference between Islamic insurance and non-Islamic insurance, and why is that Muslims should avoid the non-Islamic insurance?
Non-Islamic insurance, we discussed it during our programs as well in the previous episodes. It entails three fundamental things which are prohibited in the Sharia. One is riba and interest, and the other was gharar, uncertainty of outcome in a commercial transaction, as well as maisir, in that it is akin to gambling. So therefore, conventional insurance is not permissible at all. In as far as Islamic law is concerned, conventional insurance is not permissible. It's not permissible for a Muslim to have a conventional policy, be it a life policy or a general policy. It's not permissible to do that.
Why do you say that there is this three element, riba, ghara and maisir, in conventional insurance? Just can I?
Yes, we did discuss it.
Yeah.
Basically, riba is there because there's an unequal exchange of wealth. Also, riba is there because the premiums that are paid in conventional insurance are normally invested in money markets. It's normally invested on an interest basis. In life insurance, in fact, they actually return back to you a portion of that interest. So interest is there. Gharar is of course there because at the time of contributing your premium, you are selling your risk to the insurance company. And risk is something that is not identified.
Right.
When will it occur? That is not. So there is a high level of uncertainty in conventional insurance contracts, and therefore it's not permissible. And then why we say that there is gambling, or it is akin to gambling, is because gambling transactions are such that a person contributes or pays something, and whether he's going to win or not, he doesn't know.
Right.
So this is just like that. Insurance. But Islamic insurance, or takaful, is free of these. One is the contributions that are contributed by the participants. They are not invested at all in interest transactions or interest-based transactions, so there is no riba that is involved. It's not a commercial transaction. When it's not a commercial transaction, it's just a contribution by participants into a pool, and the takaful company manages that pool. So when it's not a commercial transaction, there is no element of gharar.
In other words, a small example for the viewers will be, we have a box here. All of us, we put the money there, and some company manages it.
That's right.
To mitigate the risks that we have.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
On a small scale, it's like that. This is done on a little bigger scale. But it's exactly like that, that we all contribute to a fund. One company is managing that on our behalf, and they pay out anyone who is afflicted by some sort of loss or calamity, and the rest of the funds are there. So the element of gharar or uncertainty is not found in Islamic insurance. There might be uncertainty,
but because
that uncertainty is not at the back of a commercial transaction, it's permissible. It's at the back of a tabarru transaction.
That is why we are trying to protect. There is a risk.
That's right.
Right. And
of course there's no maisir in it as well, because maisir is also based on commercial transactions, and here there's no commercial transaction.
We know everything from the beginning, what is going to happen. Right. Now, since you mentioned that this fund that we collected in the box is invested in the Sharia compliant products. So that again opens our conversation into the products of Islamic finance. What kind of products they invest in, like mudaraba and musharaka and what?
Yeah, look, there is a number of things that can be invested in from a permissible point of view. From a permissible point of view, Islamic insurance managers or companies can invest in equities, permissible equities on stock exchanges.
Like musharaka.
That's a type of musharaka where you actually buy shares in companies.
Right.
You can invest in gold. Of course, gold trading has to be done correctly within the parameters of the Sharia.
Could it be under murabaha, buying and selling gold?
No, gold usually it is not. It must be a cash transaction,
Right.
not a credit transaction where you buy the gold and you pay for it later.
No, I mean on the spot we buy the gold and then sell
and you
with
pay
the
the
markup.
cash. That's fine.
Yeah.
So long as it's paid for, the commodities are exchanged in the same gathering.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So that is a type of investment. It can be invested on mudaraba basis with other companies.
Right. Like joint venture finance.
That's right. You can do murabaha transactions where if people require finance, you buy the item, the asset for them and you sell it to them at a profit. So there are a number of valid transactions.
Right.
Through which Islamic insurance companies can invest their wealth.
Right.
Of course, in some jurisdictions, they are forced by the regulator to invest in treasury bills, which are interest-based and that results in Islamic insurance companies having to donate a large amount of their that income into charity.
Isn't it a dilemma that the Islamic finance institutions face?
They face that. That is the reason why Islamic financial institutions need to canvass regulatory authorities to create permissible Sharia compliant instruments for them, like sukuk,
yes,
like Islamic bonds which are permissible,
right,
so that they can invest in those,
right,
and they don't have to give that wealth away in,
right,
in charity then.
In case we cannot change the whole system into an Islamic central banking system, we can at least, as you say, go into the compliant, Sharia compliant.
That's right.
Right. So, so that tells us that even if we participate in the takaful, the certificates underwriting, we are still going into Islamic banking as well. So both are linked, isn't it?
Both are linked. It's like two sides of a single coin.
Right. Right.
You can't really separate them.
Right. Right.
Like how you can't take out the sweetness from sugar.
Right. Right.
It's like
one
that.
another very contentious issue. Maybe I can ask you. Do you think these conventional insurance companies, while they are engaged in riba and gharar and maisir, open a window and then just come to say we have a Sharia compliant product here? Is it workable? How does that work?
You know, it is permissible for a conventional company to open a window. It's not something that is prohibited or impermissible. Let's take a very simple example. Like if there is a bar, alcoholic shop that is selling alcohol, and together with that they are selling some soft drinks or some mineral water.
Right.
Will we say that it is impermissible for them to sell that mineral water? That is something permissible that they are selling.
Right.
So if they structure something which is permissible, it's permissible for them. Of course.
No, per se that is right. But when you say we are selling something good for your health, while the rest 90% is not good for the health, where does the morale of the good and the bad lies there?
Look, I'm not speaking about the moral issue.
Yeah.
About the very, in principle, if they sell that, it's permissible. You can't say that it's not permissible for them. And in fact, they will be providing a solution or a service to the community who wants to do that. So they must be supported. However, when a conventional insurance company or conventional bank opens up an Islamic window, then there has to be a firewall.
Exactly.
And there has to be even more stringent rules in place to make sure that Sharia compliance is not compromised.
Right.
And it becomes very easy for Sharia compliance to become compromised.
Right.
If there is no in-house Sharia scholar, the Sharia board is not meeting regularly, and they are not at the beck and call.
Right. And if they start pooling the funds also across, will be also dangerous.
It can be open to dangers.
Yes.
That is there, but if it is done correctly, then there is no harm, and there are many windows around the world. We cannot condemn windows.
Right.
But the aim of windows must be to ultimately change completely.
That's what I'm saying. You see, that means the onus of the company that has the window is very huge, because we have an Islamic audience here, Islamic customer, Islamic Muslims. So when you open up something which is non-Islamic and Islamic, it is very serious matter. We have to, the company has to tell the audience, look, this is what you should not touch and this is what you should touch. Where does the company lie there?
Like I said, there is a great danger of contamination
exactly.
in such a situation.
Self-destruction.
Yes.
Sort of, yeah.
So those companies, particularly in an Islamic country like the Maldives,
right.
there must be an aim to convert completely
right.
into Islamic finance. That must be the goal and objective. Many a times a company may not want to go towards Islamic,
right.
because they feel that, you know what, we may not be able to open a bank account for one of the resorts that deal in liquor and pork.
Right.
Right. Now that is where the test is.
Exactly.
That is where the test is, that right. if you do it, and you'll see there will be so much of goodness that will stem from that.
Exactly.
So much of goodness, because now that will open up the eyes. Now if this resort cannot open a bank account at an Islamic window, Islamic financial institution, and there are only Islamic financial institutions in the country, then it's a problem for them.
Exactly.
So it will make them start thinking that, you know what,
who is wrong here?
You know, maybe we should do away with selling pork and liquor, because we can't conduct. So it will lead to goodness,
right?
But it requires a bold step in the beginning.
Yeah, I just want to highlight two issues here. Even the Western banks, you know, they call it ethical banking, and then they do the same thing that the Islamic bank is doing. So it is not the name; it is what they do, as you said, the transaction, isn't it?
Yes.
So. For example, when we talk about the financial crisis of 1997 financial crisis, the conventional institutions, financial institutions, suffered a loss, suffered hugely. But while the Islamic financial institutions survived, can you highlight?
Islamic financial institutions were very much sort of, if you like, they were insulated,
shockproof
to a great extent. It's not that they didn't suffer at all. They may have suffered because they're part of the sector.
Right.
So to some extent there might have been some losses, but to a great extent they were insulated against that loss, largely because the Islamic finance is asset-based, and it affected and hit conventional institutions very hardly, because they were selling paper, what they were referring to as toxic assets, just debt-based instruments that were just being sold and resold and broken down and resold.
Right.
So that caused this whole financial crisis, and it's not over yet. This financial crisis is ongoing.
Right. Anyway, we have spoken at length, and thank you very much, Mufti Shafiq Jakura, for the invaluable knowledge and experience that you have shared with us here. So we hope to see you in Maldives again very soon. Thank you very much for the visit to us. So hope to see you again soon next time.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, viewers, for being with us for all these programs, and hopefully you got very good information and knowledge on Islamic finance and Sharia and other things we have spoken about. So we hope to see you soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.